Hey, everybody, we're talking about a good one today. Top three Star Wars games of all time. And
Yeah,
I'm not talking about, the ones that are most popular. I'm talking about for you, for
yeah.
me. What's my top three Star Wars games of all time versus Nick's? Versus Nick's. It's a top three challenge. You get to determine which one of us has the better top three. And more importantly, you get to post your top three in the comments. So, Nick,
Mm.
I started off the last top three challenge. I'm going to let you start us off with this one.
All right. So my number three favorite Star Wars game all time, and this was a hard one because there's a lot of good Star Wars games out there. Now, let me start off by saying these are games that we've actually played. Uh, there's a lot of Star Wars games we haven't played. I have never played Knights of the Old Republic or any of that. So, keep that in mind.
Unsubscribe. I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. It is on my playlist. I do have it on Steam. I just haven't played it yet. But uh, my number three is The Force Unleashed 2.
Okay.
Absolutely love that game. Now, I like the DLC better in Force Unleashed 1. Really cool DLC where you fight an evil Luke Skywalker on Hoth. But the DLC for Force Unleashed 2 was really good as well. The level designs, the
Mhm.
Force abilities was like unmatched to anything that we've ever seen in a Star Wars game before.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved all the different levels were very unique. The
Mhm.
story was awesome. So that's my number three, The Force Unleashed 2.
Okay. My number three, that's a good choice, Nick. Good choice. My number three is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. It's
Mm,
the
that's a
final
good
in the
game.
Jedi Knight or the Dark Forces series.
Yeah.
And in this one, you don't play Kyle. Kyle is a side
Mm,
character.
mm,
In Jedi Academy, you get to create your own character for the first time and you go through the entire story. Luke is in it, Lando is in it, voiced by
mm.
the great Billy D. Williams, by the way.
Yep.
The game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Huge modding community for the Jedi Knight series. You could download single player uh, mods, which would be like single player levels. I remember being Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader in the Emperor's throne room, Return of the Jedi. It was a mod for Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of my favorites of all time. Great story, great gameplay. The lightsaber combat was, in my opinion, the best lightsaber combat ever in any
It,
Star Wars game.
it was really good. Really good. Yep. So my number two is gonna be X-Wing Alliance.
Oh,
That is my number two favorite Star Wars game of all time, and let me tell you why. I love the space simulators. I love the ships. I love the space combat, all that sort of stuff. Ever since the very first X-Wing game dropped, and what made this game one of my favorites of all time is because it leads up to the Battle of Endor, and at the
mhm,
end of the game, you are actually in the space battle on Endor
mhm.
in making your assault on the second Death Star.
Yeah,
And at the time when that game dropped, it was the best computer version of that. Actually, it was the maybe the first, but uh, simulator game where you're uh, at Endor in that space battle. I can't remember if one of the Rogue Squadron games came out before it or not,
no, no.
but
That was
it
way before Rogue Squadron.
was it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it looked freaking phenomenal. It was the first time I actually got to, play that
Yeah.
movie section in a video game, and it looked
Put you in the game
amazing.
or put you in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it puts you in the movie and leading up to it, the story behind it, and
Yeah.
joining up with the rebels. The first part of the game is a little bit boring and slow, but that second
It
half,
is.
man, it is well worth the wait. Once you join up with the Rebel Alliance, and then the story starts coming together.
Right.
Absolutely love that game. Really, really fun to play too.
Okay. All right. Great choice. That's a really good one. You mentioned my number 2. Uh, I was in college and, the night that the Nintendo GameCube released,
Hmm.
there was a pickup time. I had already bought mine, and I went to go pick it up after work. I worked in college at Movie Gallery, which is like a Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And on the way home, I picked up my Nintendo GameCube with 2 games. And so the game that I was the most excited about, it's the one that came with the system, Rogue Squadron 2.
Mm,
Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. The original Rogue Squadron came out on Nintendo 64.
yeah.
It was a great game. There's no doubt about it. But man, when I put in Rogue Squadron 2 on the GameCube for the very first time and I clicked power and the opening splash screen happened and that X-Wing comes flying through and it's playing the music. Holy crap. And then the game started and it got even better. I am a member of Rogue Squadron. I am flying with Wedge, Luke, and Hobby. Are
Yeah.
you serious? Taking me through all the side missions, going to Coruscant, General Madine sends you on a mission.
Yeah.
Like you're doing all these things that are in between the movies, and it just tied the movies in great. And the gameplay was phenomenal. The Death Star attack, phenomenal. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, that's a great game. And I remember when you got that and you came home from college and was at your parents' house, I went straight over to your house and went over there and played it with you over there.
And bro, and then Rogue Squadron 3 came out,
Yeah.
and Rogue Squadron 3 had its own game, and then Rogue Squadron 3 had a B part. It's almost like those old vinyls that you could flip over,
Yeah.
and there was like a special 12-inch, extended version of this song. Rogue Squadron 3 allowed you to play Rogue Squadron 2 cooperatively. So you and I went through the entire game together.
Yeah. I remember that. Wow. Yeah. That's a really fun game.
Mhm.
Man. And it looked great on that GameCube.
It still
For its
holds
time.
up today.
Yeah. Yep. So my number one game of all time, I was looking at some different lists that people had, and if you take the very
I already know
near
what it is.
modern games out, this game is number one on the
Yeah.
list,
Yeah.
and it's Star Wars TIE Fighter, the space simulator
Yeah,
game.
and the new one that dude redid is
TIE
even
Fighter
better.
Total Conversion. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's my number one, Star Wars TIE Fighter. It literally takes place and starts at the very beginning of the Rebels escaping Hoth. You know,
Mhm.
you are the Empire, you are in TIE Fighters, and you're trying to stop the Rebels' escape from Hoth. And
Yeah.
it goes from that game came out, and then 2 DLCs came out, and the entire game goes from that moment at the when the rebels are escaping Hoth all the way to the battle at Endor. In the very
Mhm.
last mission, the commander's talking to you and is like, all our forces are converging at Endor. We're
Yeah.
waiting to hear word, once the rebels have been destroyed for good, and
Right.
the game ends. And of course, the rest of the story. But
Right.
yeah, like Coach mentioned a minute ago, a fan came out and we actually had the guy who did this on the channel. The interview with him is actually still up on the channel, I believe, if you search for it. But TIE Fighter Total Conversion. And he basically took the game and converted all the graphics and everything. And it's basically like a whole new game with modern graphics. My old system, I could never get it to run or play right.
Mhm.
But now that I got this computer, thanks to a lot of you guys out there, I'm definitely going to be installing that and playing it. Absolutely love that game. The story, the side quests, all the different missions, the gameplay. It's just so much fun. The music, it's just by far my favorite game. And that's one of the reasons why I was looking forward to Squadron so much that EA put out. And Coach was as well. And it
Mhm.
just was a complete flop, not even
Mhm.
close to being nearly as good as this game that came out back in, what was it, like
94.
1992? 4? Yeah, 94. So yeah, that's my number one Star Wars game of all
Yep.
time. I've gone through it from start to finish several times.
Great pick. Great pick. Similarly, my number one is also something that great action. It's a mixture. It's a mixture, unlike TIE Fighter, of shoot 'em up, and simulation. Incredible soundtrack, debuted with a system, and in a story that I didn't know anything about until I played the game.
I think I know what you're about to say.
I'm Dash Rendar, and I'm
Yeah.
in the Outrider, and I'm talking Nintendo 64 Shadows of the Empire.
Yep. Yeah.
One of the way the game starts on the Battle of Hoth, you're in the
Yep.
snowspeeder. Oh my gosh, dude. You get to go fight Boba Fett in IG-88. You
Yeah.
get to go attack Prince Shizor's palace. I mean, it is an incredible game.
And it was hard. Oh, you remember that IG-88 boss
I do.
fight?
Oh, yeah.
We spent forever trying to
Yeah.
beat that guy.
Yep.
Me and Coach would spend hours and hours in his room playing
Yep.
Shadows of the Empire,
Yep.
trying to get through and
And
beat
it was,
that
and
thing.
look, that's a Christmas memory too, because that
Yeah.
came out Christmas
Yeah.
97.
Yeah.
It debuted with the Nintendo 64. That's back when Star Wars was like, it's coming out with the new system because Star Wars is up here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was a great way to sell some Nintendos.
Now, if Star Wars comes out with the system, people are like,
Yeah. Anyways, guys, those are our top 3 list of the best Star Wars games of all time, according to us. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? Which one of us are you picking? Most importantly, what are your top 3s? Let us know in the comments. We would love to see your list as well. As we always say here, we are, you are Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you, and Merry Christmas.
Bye,
See you
guys.
on the next one.